Norwegian band Magic Pie is now in its 25th year of providing solid rock in Prague. Its lucky seventh album is due out on May 16th. It's called Maestro, and it is both intricate and rocking. Eirikur Hauksson is the lead singer and lyricist for Magic Pie, and he is joining us today to talk about all things pie, not just a slice
Mm.
there, but the whole pie. I'm Mark Boardman of Sonic Perspectives, and Eric, welcome to the
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
first question I've got, and I hear this from a couple of people. You start off an album with an 18-minute epic.
Yeah, um, it has been uh, every other album we start with the epic, or we end with the epic.
Mhm.
And this time we've practically done both because Maestro was originally 20, 23, 24 minutes long, and Kim and I had the idea, why not split it and have the last part as an ending? And it felt right to do it, and that's the way it ended. Hmm.
Sounds right to do it, matter of fact.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
what about the in-between, though? Or do we have a concept album where everything sort of flows lyrically from one song to the next, or not?
No, it's the opus imperfectus, which is a related part one, part two. The rest are like their own songs, with the exception of a little 2 minutes long slow thing called Kiddo, which leads right into uh, someone else's wannabe. That is in practice. That is one song, even though it has two titles at
Mhm.
the record. Mm.
So, who is the maestro?
Maestro is a fictive person, of course. It's when I got the demo from Kim and I heard the intro, I sort of took a time travel and went to the days of the old classic composers like the giants Beethoven and Mozart, and I s- that was the atmosphere I breathed in, and I remembered the films of those two I mentioned, Beethoven and Mozart. These great composers, they always had an assistant who sometimes even rewrote and fine wrote their symphonies, and the idea just popped up. I'm gonna let that boy do the coffee coming up. Helga, I will need the contact. Battery problems.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. So that was how it happened, and when I came to that point, the rest was easy. I'm just gonna move here so that I this is fun. Um, it came quite naturally when I've this had decided the way to do it. So I'm happy with the results, and I think it's a great epic. Um, I had Kim gave me free hands and thoughts to do whatever I wanted, and but he always has the last word, and
Right, right.
yeah,
Well, in this case, the maestro is having trouble finding a lost or a last chord, I suppose
yeah.
both.
Hmm.
Why is that? How did that come to your mind?
I don't. I think it's there is a symphony. I think it's Beethoven who has the unfinished symphony.
Yes.
Yeah. So I may have sort of stolen that idea. And I was while I was writing it, I was thinking maybe we should make this huge, enormous chord at the ending, like bah. But then I remembered that's how Beatles ended
I was
the
going to
Abbey
say
Road.
that's the end for the
Yeah.
Beatles.
So that would have been a ripoff.
So how did you do it? We'll give people away something.
Yeah, it's nothing is given. The listener just has to imagine it really. It's sort of it doesn't fade out, but it ends in a massive instrumental part where Kim does his brilliant guitars and it's an open book and nobody knows because after the premiere of this obviously great symphony he wrote his claim to fame as I say it in the lyrics he vanishes and nobody knows what happened. Did he commit suicide? Did he have an accident? Or did he just want to disappear and live in Solibad somewhere? No one knows. I don't even know. So
And you're the creator.
I'm the creator. Since it's take it as it comes, I say.
Um, it seems to me that several of the songs have to do with loss and with searching. Was that an intentional thing?
Well, yeah, I would agree with you. Absolutely. Um, I th I think that's part of who I am, really. I'm often searching for something. There, I'm connected to electricity. Or sorry about that, Mark. But
That's all right.
there we go. Yep. And ah, I mean, I'm a happy fellow, and when you live a good life, it's easy to go into these moods and even express sorrow, uh, yeah, sadness, lengthen, whatever. So it's not a self-biography. It's more like a story. I'm a storyteller.
Hmm. The way this story is told, the way your relationship with Kim Stenberg is that
Mm.
Kim comes up with the music and then you write the words to that. When you're listening to what he's come up with, do these images come up pretty easily, or does this require several different listens to come up with something?
It's both ways. It's the most common thing is that we really connect music-wise. I understand his approach, and he has learned to accept mine. There is I think what makes our partnership a little special is that Kim is, of course, the founder of the band, and he really knows both his own prog and he really knows the prog industry in its general. But I'm grown up with heavy metal, and I didn't even know what prog was when I joined Magic Pie, or at least I thought so when I met the guys. The drummer was very keen, and I said, I don't know anything about prog, guys. So you just have to bear with me. I'll do my best.
Hmm?
You don't know prog? Well, what did you listen to at high school, as an example? Well, it was more like, Kansas. That's prog. What? Jethro Tull? That's prog. So I soon learned that progressive rock and hard rock, all these issues, they all kind of fit together in a family. It's more the journalists and critics that decide what's prog and what's,
Mhm.
shall we say, common rock or whatever. So, but what I think the main reason for me to join Magic Pie is because this was something new to me. I heard the first two albums. It was Alan, previous lead singer, who knocked on my door, and I knew him from before. And he got these two CDs, and he says, "I know the guys want you to replace me because I'm kind of going somewhere else in my life, and I've said to them, this is the guy you want, and but I don't think they dare to call you, so that's why I'm here." And when I had listened to the first two Magic Pie albums, they were also epics on both albums, and I thought, wow, I would love to do this, write lyrics and melodies to like 20-minute songs, 25 minutes, whatever. There's not going to be a record company that calls you and say, "Guys, where's the hit?"
Yeah.
Everything's allowed, and that was a new thing for me, and it felt so exciting, and I haven't had 1 minute regrets about it.
Hmm. Did it did it come off pretty much immediately, your partnership with Kim, so that when he cranked out something for the third album,
Mm. Mm.
you immediately, I know what that says to me and to an audience.
Um, the way I remember it, I was quite humble doing that first album, and actually Kim had some. I don't remember exactly which parts, but he had some choruses and things like that that he had already. This is the way it must be, and everybody that write music, compose music, know that if you have like a great chord combination and you have the melody in your head, and and the main line goes, "That's why I don't love you anymore."
Mhm.
Uh, the composer, he can never get that line out of his head.
Right.
So the thing was that I don't demand it, Kim said, but if you can you write around that line and that line? I really want to keep them. And that was a challenge, but it was a fun one.
Hmm.
I liked it, and he has trusted me more and more for each album. Maestro will be my fourth with Pi, and today he trusts me completely. So we're having a nice co-work.
You ever occasionally disagree on a lyric?
Yeah, it's more for Kim. It's more like maybe melody approach or whatever. Um, I remember at one time, but that wasn't particularly from him. That was from the whole band, I think. There was a comment. Is there any chance that we will ever have a song where no one dies? And I said, I hope so. I won't promise. I hope so. Um, for me, it's easier to, shall we say, write about the darker side than being happy and everything's in harmony and peace. Um, hmm. Uh, that's I think that's the emotional difference between prog rock and pop music, if you like.
Mhm.
So, as I said earlier, I'm really enjoying putting this icing on the cake when Kim has his music all composed, and we're happy with the parts, the length of the parts and how they are glued together. Sometimes we change the row on that, and then he leaves it up to me to do the last words.
Mhm.
Nice.
Mhm. I talked to Kim a couple of days ago
Yeah.
and asked him if he remembered what he was listening to when he composed the music. And he said,
Mm.
well, that was a long time ago, and I'm not quite sure. He said, but
Um,
I never listen to prog when I'm doing that because I'm afraid that I'll just borrow what somebody else is doing. He
mm.
said, I listen to Edith Piaf, I listen to Frank Sinatra, I listen to
Really?
big band and folk. And I said, and that doesn't show a bit, does it? Is do you have stuff that you read that gives you some of the ideas for the lyrics?
No, I don't because I'm not the reader type. That stopped well 20 years ago, I guess. But there are, of course, both images and memories in your head. As an example, when we did King for a Day, the title track for that album, I had in my drawer, my lyrics drawer, I had a pop song that I wrote, not meant for myself, but meant for someone else, but it never got that far. And that was King for a Day. And I liked the title, King for a Day. That's something. And starting with the lyrics to King for a Day, that became King for a Day. Um, I had some lines that I picked out and wanted to use them. And it developed into this guy who is voluntarily going insane. He's lost the meaning of his life when he lost his girlfriend in a shooting episode, a massacre. And when I had got the story rolling, I remembered a film called Fisher King,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorites, and I looked at the lyrics. What this is like in the film Fisher Kings when Robin Williams plays this insane guy, gone insane, and he's chased by dragons and memories, and he lost his dear one in a shooting episode. So at that point, I did absolutely not get the movie and watch it because I wanted to continue the story, but like Kim said, without ripping something. So I think I managed to control the story into its own path, and probably the best song we have wrote, I think, King for a Day.
Yeah, it's an excellent song, no question
Yeah.
about it. So you come up with a story idea, and
Mm.
then you sort of tell that story, and then I would guess once you have the basic story, you fashion it around the music. Is that right?
Absolutely right. And as you can come up with words that you love, but if they are anywhere near your highest range, then every singer knows that some vocals are easier to sing than
Hmm.
others. So that's sort of that's a sort of finish. You're quite right. I get the basic idea, and I have a story. I like it, and then the finishing comes with where you just feel you have to change some words.
Sure. Mhm.
An A is a difficult vocal. O is probably the best one. So yeah, it's a matter of having the lung capacity.
Hmm. Do you go back to Kim and say, wait a minute, that note is just a little bit out of my range?
That has happened absolutely. And as a singer, I have the authority to make those decisions. Nobody should ever go over his range. Uh, but you can't say my limit is D. I can't get higher in D. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It all depends on how you go into it, how
Yeah,
you phrase into it. If I mean, just one note, this is more difficult than if you climb.
that's right.
Hmm.
Step by step.
Step by step.
Um, I'm curious because obviously, since the last album,
Hmm.
you and I talked back then in 2019,
Yep.
the COVID episodes.
Yep.
What did that do to the band and putting together albums?
Um, I'm aware of that many bands all around the world use the COVID period quite in a positive way. Went into the studio, everybody was cautious and all that. Um, couldn't go out and play, and they used the valuable time to write music and put things together. We didn't manage to do that. We sort of drifted away from one another, and of course we were in contact, but it was a bad use of time, except for one thing. Uh, During that time, Kim worked a lot alone
Hmm.
in his basement, in his cellar, and he had written so much when we got together again, and it actually took him a long time to decide what's gonna be on the first on the release number six, which I decided to call Maestro, and what comes on number seven and number eight. Because I'll let you in on a secret if Kim hasn't already told you. We have a new drummer on this album,
Mark.
Martin Lutby. Jan Johansson, he left us. Uh, he was a great drummer.
Hmm.
It had nothing to do with his drumming that he left.
Sure.
He just had enough. But Martin is a he's a young guy. He's a kiddo,
Yeah,
and
compared to the rest of you, yes.
yeah, and once we booked uh, a real studio to do the live drums, Kim wanted Martin to record as much as we could during 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and it ended with the result that we now have drums completed for the next two albums.
Hmm.
So, well, don't know if new epidemic comes, but there are not going to be 6 years till next album.
Yeah, yeah,
If we get the blessing from Charisma, our record company, we would like to release the next album late next year already.
really. Hmm.
Yeah, and it's gonna be. We have chosen the songs and yeah, during this summer, autumn, I'm gonna go deeply into writing the lyrics and the melodies, and it's gonna be it looks like it's gonna be a theme album, and I already have that in my head, and there's gonna be some there's gonna be a musical difference on that album number seven and the previous albums. Uh, We're gonna make sure that you and everybody else recognizes the Magic Pie sound
Sure. Hmm.
and of course many parts, but there is a difference. Kim is getting more, a little bit more into what you would refer to as maybe metal prog, hard rock prog. So that's his development on the case, and I'm liking it. And so hopefully next year it's gonna be a new album for Magic Pie, and we may gain some new fans and hopefully keep all of the old fans. And ah, I must admit, I am excited about it. Mm.
I was told by someone that at one point there was a consideration to put out album 6 and 7 as a double album. Is that correct?
Uh, I I can recall that, yes, Mark. Um, but I think not. I think we have gone for the let's make the next album. Let's make a theme album in a way where all the songs are connected lyrics wise
Hmm.
because they are musically. There's a very strong unit in all the 40, 50 minutes, whatever it is, and my theme for the next one is an open one. So if that decision would be considered again to do a double album, it's absolutely a possibility, but I wouldn't know. Obviously, I think without knowing, I think it's easier to approach the buyer, to approach new fans if you have like two separate albums. A double album is, in my mind, a double album is really it's a tribute to the fans we have. I think the fans would love it,
Hmm.
but I think it will be harder to pick up new following if you have a double album. Maybe
Of course,
I don't know if you agree on that, Mark, but
yeah, I think that's true. I think it can be also challenging if you've got a concept album. Uh,
yeah.
Sometimes if you don't immediately hit the new fan with something that really
Mm,
grabs them, the
mm,
rest of the album they'll not take anything into consideration.
mm. The working title for the next one is Short Stories. Something Kim called it, and it has stuck with it. Um, so I think we'll create it in a way that even though all the songs are connected, it'll be they will be separated on the album. There will be as many titles as we want, and uh, yeah, our thoughts are. Uh, let's make it in a way that we keep the old fans and perhaps we get. I think we're approaching the more modern prog world
Hmm.
with number seven.
Hmm.
That's what we hope for.
How would you define the Magic Pie sound? Because the difference between, say, the opus at 18 minutes and one of the songs later on at 4 or 5 minutes,
Hmm.
there's a pretty stark difference in the approach and the sound to them.
Yeah, that's one of the thing. Those who have followed us, they will realize if they dig into it, they will realize that on every album we have a variety in sounds. We have variety in styles. We have the hardcore moments, we have our romantic moments, and we have our majestic moments. We all want to have these choruses and maybe some other parts where we really do that vocal harmonies. That's a part we will always stick to,
Hmm.
in my opinions. But when I speak of the Magic Pie sound, I guess I'm referring to the variety of the sounds. And if you listen to the albums, you will say, um, yeah, that was Magic Pie for me. And without digging into it as you have done and pointed out the different approaches.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's always gonna be for me and Kim. It's always gonna be uh, a, a little symphonic, I guess. Maybe some Edith Piaf. Who knows?
That would be interesting. Do you think you could do that vocal?
Mr. Le Président.
You're perfect.
You have
Now, if
yeah.
that ends up in the middle of the next album, I want to
Uh,
credit for that.
um, if it ends with an imitation of Edith Piaf for me, I'm gonna say your name. It came from
Thank you. Say my name in vain.
Yeah.
I wonder, we mentioned very quickly that Martin is on board as the drummer, that
Yeah.
he's younger. Um, what does he bring to the band now?
New energy, number one, new energy. And he's such a reliable kid.
Mhm.
He lives. The thing that we were worried about is that he lives like he has to drive 3 hours
Really?
for rehearsal. So we don't want to stress him with more than maximum one rehearsal
Mhm.
during a month, during a week. But so far he's okay with it. He does it, and he's always prepared. If we say we want to do this, we want to do that. He's a quick learner, and he's energetic, and brings he brings youth to the band. How about that?
Oh, I would also wonder because you talked about some of the guys in the band when you were coming on board talking about what prog rock was,
Yeah.
that Jethro Tull and Kansas and some of these other bands
Mm.
really have prog aspects to them. Well, Martin has grown up with entirely different music, not
Yeah.
necessarily those groups. Has it been easy for him to blend in his generation, let's say, into what Magic Pie's doing?
It doesn't sound like that, Mark, and he doesn't give that expression. Martin has his own band with his mates in Hamar, where he lives. Um, um, they have released an album. I can't remember the band name, sorry, but so he's got yeah, he's doing more than just Pi, but I think joining Pi was a big thing for him, and he was actually quite surprised. We had an audition, and he couldn't believe his ears when Kim called him and said, "If you want it, the gig is yours."
Nice.
Nice.
Yes.
And we're definitely talking about these days, and we're going to we're going to make it happen. Next year, we're gonna play some more, and I think we're gonna play a lot more. Mostly here in Norway and Scandinavia, of course, but we're always open for offers. The last thing on the cruise, that was a nice one. It's always fun to do that gig.
Yeah, let's
So
just specify for the audience that you were on the cruise to the edge and
yeah. Mm.
Magic Pie played twice and had an opportunity, therefore, in two different venues to get the sound out. Were you pleased with that? It was a good experience for you guys?
Yeah, yeah, we started even before the cruiser sailed from Miami. We had a concert at the Stardust Theater, and that was a wonderful experience. It was packed, and I know we had a lot of old friends and a lot of new friends, and we, in my opinion, we performed extremely well, and everything just clicked. There were some not technical problems, but the gear came late to the theater, so we we had like 10 minutes sound check.
Hmm.
Supposedly should be 1.5. And but everybody who worked there, from the sound engineer, monitor sounding, lighting, and everything was highly professional, and we were extremely pleased. That was that was on Friday. What was it? 13, 13:30 p.m. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we had the Saturday off, and we were scheduled to play at the pool stage, which is a big thing there, at 1:30 p.m. on the Sunday. What I managed to do was I got something, probably a flu, but you don't carry thermometer to take your temperature, but I got really seriously sick by 17:30 p.m. on Saturday. My wife packed me in, gathered drugs. The keyboard player came, the guitar player came, the bass player. Everybody had bought some new miracle drugs. And I just passed out at 17:30 and I didn't wake up until 10 the day after. And I probably had a fever still. And to make it even more difficult, it was on stage, it was like warm.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
guessed like maybe up to 45, 50 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that's in Fahrenheit, but it's huge. And we stood there and we were sweating and struggling, but we made it. And I spoke seriously to people. I love that. Go to after the show, go to the people that were at the concert, and usually I get their honest opinion because I go, not tell me your honest thoughts. I can take everything.
Sure.
This was a hard gig. So what do you think? You make yeah, make good friends at the same time, and everybody was real happy, and that was that was perhaps even a greater victory than the Starters Theatre, which was perfect in every aspect. Here we had some wind against us, and but we made it. It's everything is school in this business. You learn, and what doesn't kill you just makes you stronger. Those words are sometimes really true.
They are, absolutely. And I think there were a fair number of people who were attendees on the cruise who were schooled in Magic Pie because they were not that familiar with you as they might have been, say, one of the
Hmm.
headliners.
This venue, the cruise to the ads, that's probably the best place to be if you want to get new fans.
Mhm.
I would say so. I mean, it's more than it's between 2,000 and 3,000
Yeah,
on board, and maybe 500 of them came to see their favorite band. Oh, there's a new band there, Magic Pie, Norway. Maybe we should give them a chance, and some of them might pick up an interest. Hmm.
and I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
Fortunately, even though the distribution date for this album is May 16th, you did have a few copies of the CD available
Yeah.
for sale there at the merch table.
I think that was clever idea, and we got in contact with Charisma, and it's really a bummer if we go on the cruise and we don't have the CD.
Hmm.
And they said, "Well, we will make it happen."
Hmm.
So the US was privileged at this time.
Yes, we were very privileged, and I,
Yeah,
I will tell you, and you may know this already, that I got the first one that was signed by every member of the band.
fantastic,
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah,
Well,
great.
I've got something I can hang on the wall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Came to the right person, if you ask me.
Yes, thank you. So what happens now? Are you going to go out and tour behind the album much, or are you going to start working on the next one?
We're gonna start working on the next one. We have one gig only in Spain, May 17th.
Mhm.
So we're gonna make it a shortcut. We're gonna fly over late Friday, just go to our hotel rooms and sleep it off, and play the next day, and back to Norway on Sunday. So, like I said before, the drums are done for the next album. Kim and Lars Petter, our bass player, they're already working on things, and Erling Hennanger, our keyboard player, he's gonna start. I think maybe he has just started to to do the finishes on the keyboard. So pretty soon it's all up to me to
Yeah.
do the icing on the cake, as I like to call it. Do the melodies and the lyrics, and but I'm gonna work on it this time. I'm gonna work on it more on a regular basis with Kim
Hmm.
because we have this thought that this might be a theme album. So the plan is to work from song number one and work throughout the album to get the right atmosphere, the right spirit, the crescendo, not crescendo, all that stuff. And that'll be a new approach from us. And I think we're both looking forward to it. We have good time, even though we say next year, because the instruments they're going to be finished this year already.
Yes.
So we just mm, have to be reasonable about it. If it was ready, it would be totally wrong to get it out in July this year. As an example, we have to let the uh, Maestro rest a little bit.
Hmm. Not rest, grow, expand,
Yeah,
audience.
hopefully he's gonna burst out.
Exactly.
I'm pleased with the album, and I am most pleased with the epic, which I think is what I refer to as the Magic Pie sound,
Hmm.
because you have like everything. This time I even added a little Gregorian monk
Yes.
choir or
Yep.
something. That was a fun thing. It's like, if I remember correctly, it's six takes on each voice, and with little delay and effects. We made it sound like a choir, so that's always fun. I can imagine how Queen felt when they had the re final results of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Can't imagine.
I
Can't.
can imagine, or even more so. The other song was written by Brian May, Prophet,
Yes.
the Prophet song. That's even more harmonies, but that song just went to in the shadow of Bohemian Rhapsody,
Yeah.
which of course is the most voted number one song in rock and roll history.
That's right.
I think it's past Stairway to Heaven. Yeah.
It's up there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I somehow doubt you're going to have hundreds of vocal takes that you're going to lay on top of each other for this next album.
It doesn't sound like that. It doesn't call for it.
Mm.
It's gonna be I think it's gonna be the most in your face album you've heard from Magic Pie.
Good.
We just have to make sure that I'm gonna try to make sure that we have that, you know, from the hardest of the hard to the softest of the soft.
Hmm.
That's what I like about Magic Pie. And you have space, and you have the possibility to do that. Go to like when we just relax down in the part of the opus imperfectus, which is called the man, the legend, the myth. It's all isn't just synthesizers and a dreaming voice. There's not too many bands that dare to do that. So
No.
that's 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 where we are quite strong, actually, in my opinion.
To me, Opus is very intricate and requires me to listen as opposed to putting it in the background. If I'm making any sense, that
Yeah.
to get the real experience, I put it on there. I don't have a book in front of me. I don't have anything except I just concentrate on the music. Is
I
that
would I would say, Mark, that words are gold to my ears. That's exactly the effect you would want to get from a listener if you if when you say I'm never going to use it as a background. That's kind words. Thank you very much because that's what we want to achieve. That the listener really feels like you're sitting next to me or next to Kim or next to anyone, and we're in this together.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I think this is a very successful album. I think uh,
Mm. Thank you very
I
much.
think it really takes things up another notch, and
Mm.
perhaps what it does in a certain sense is prepare you for the next two albums as well and where they may go. So
Yeah,
maybe what you're doing is taking steps upward with each one.
yes, we are, and because of the COVID and these long 6 long years we've been waiting, and the audience have been waiting. I think where we are placed today as Magic Pie, as band, as comrades, we are probably at the best place we've ever been
Mhm.
so far. So there's going to be no excuses if we fail. We now we have the opportunity and we have the time, and everything is all the pieces seem like they're gonna stick together and make a great picture for the next album.
Well, we'll look forward to that. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, we will enjoy Maestro, which will be coming out officially on May 16th, although some people have already gotten copies of it and are the reviews. The
Mm.
reviews have been raving so far, so that's a plus as well.
Oh yeah, makes one happy. You never get tired of that. I haven't seen any bad uh, comments yet, but they they happen to come, and you just have to accept that you can't be loved and adored by everyone, and but the majority of has so far in our career has been positive,
It has.
so
Mhm.
we're very happy about it.
It has been a pleasure to talk with you, my friend.
Always, Mark, call me anytime.
I can do that. Eirikur Hauksson is the lead singer and the lyricist for Magic Pie, and their new album Maestro again is out on May 16th, and it is a great one. And I'm Mark Boardman. For the latest music news, reviews, and interviews, go to sonicperspectives.com.